trade? Oh, come on, man. Well, we'll be going long again here down below where the market says to
Stop
go long.
filled.
As you can see, we've been stopped out there. Let me just get everything set up. How's everybody doing on a Friday? I know I started a little bit late. I slept in a little bit, then got up, did about 2 minutes pre-market, and then I started trading. So needed a little sleeping in today. We're in Oompa Loompa land. Let's see where we're going. Upload our thumbnail. Oh, go live on Discord. Just reading through my okay, why is there no noise? Usually there's like a little sound. Okay, whatever. It is Friday. Another great trading day. Another great day to be a speculator. How's everybody doing? Like I said, it's Friday. Another great day to be a trader. Another great day to be a speculator. You can see we're up. We're looking to short GC. Oh man, what's up with this chart? Ah, we should be shorting the crude. The crude did break out. Oh man, this is like a perfect short if we can capture it. Don't often say that, but this probably is a perfect short on CL if it behaves the way we expect it to behave. All right, let me share this out with everybody. Why is it not switching? Why is my freaking A, dude? There. There we go. Decided I should stream part of the day. Well, I shouldn't. I mean, not that I have to. I just figured, hey, why not stream? Having a good day. Every day is a good day when you get up. You wake up, take your first breath. So as I said in the futures room, we're waiting for where are we at? Why does that not show up? Interesting. All right. Finally getting the hang of Sierra chart. Figured I'd just do a little bit of trading here this morning. Well, I've been trading, but like I said, I figured I'd do a little bit of streaming. Ah, come on, CL. We missed the best entry on that bad boy. All right, we'll not get too aggressive, but let's put another position here. Let's put another position here because it might continue to rip up. So let's not get too heavy yet. Let's just figure out what it wants to do. CL, I'll share my P&L, where we at P&L wise. OBS, what are we showing on OBS? Okay. I don't know. We're up probably about 12 grand or something. I don't know what we're up. So Definitely, if we look at the NDX, let me do something real quick. We'll be looking at Bitcoin here in a second. We'll look at BNB, take a look at that. We got a new indicator coming out. One of the alphas is working. We're working hand in hand with one of the alphas to create new indicators. There we go. All right. Probably can move one of these cells on the actual GC up. I'm sure the gold bugs are not excited about the sell-off today, but you know, it is what it is. As Popeye said, he is what he is, or I am what I am, whatever the heck Popeye said. We're up about 230 on that CL trade. I should have probably entered at a full 3 lots on that thing but we missed the best entry, so I don't like to chase trades. System is not designed to chase trades. Now let's look at chart 4. Members, you should be looking at chart 4 on the NQ if you're trading the NQ or the MNQ. You should already see that we're our next kind of key area that we're probably maybe looking to take profit or even sell. You know, because everybody's in the mindset of buying. Our next kind of opportunity on the sell side is right there. That's our next opportunity. Oh, right there, you can't see it. 12,290. Gotta be careful selling that, but you know that's kind of a next zone that we're looking for. And then our next zone, which is kind of an interesting zone. I mean, the ultimate zone that we're looking for today that I think it probably will reach is right around that well, I've said between 360 and 320 and 360, but where it's really at is right around 362. 362 is what we call oompa loompa land. Basically, it's short. We plan to short up there if it gets up there. So right now, this is, you know, if you've been watching the streams or you're in my training, you're an alpha. You know, I talk much about kind of these Fridays. Sometimes they go where it's a gap and go day. And it just rips. So this could be potentially a gap and go day. I mean, it already has been. I don't even know what you know, potentially. It's already been a gap and go day. What does promo SM mean? I'm trying to figure out. Huh? I think that dude's trolling me. We're only in 2 lots. We were in like, I was in like 12, 15. But then, you know, we've kind of been taking profit along the way. Guess I should have been a little bit more patient with it, huh? CL, I'd like to see a bigger sell-off in CL. The problem is with CL right now is we're kind of in between. It's recaptured momentum and now it's recaptured bias. So now it's using that little inflection zone around 71, spot 67 to see if it wants to continue. There's no sell signals on the NQ yet. E-mini Dow is up. I'm going to switch out the E-mini Dow. I don't, you know, it correlates too much with the NQ. There's too much correlation. So I need to find something. We were, you know, I had Nat Gas on there for a while. I really wasn't trading it. I really, you know, so there's a question yesterday on the stream. How much does the other, most know that I kind of focus on the NQ. That's where I deploy a lot of the capital or my capital. But then any given day, 30 or 40% of my P&L is made up by gold, crude, and then the fourth one here. But I looked at, since I've had YM, I really have only traded YM twice. Only twice. Even though the signals are clear, It's just because it comes down to correlation. There's no purpose in trading something that's exactly correlated. Look at this chart. This chart looks almost just like crude oil. It doesn't look quite like NQ, obviously, but it looks just like there's too much correlation than the three other things with this YM. I need to find something that's completely ill correlated than YM. That way there's opportunity, because otherwise if you deploy your capital in the same pattern, you're taking the same risk. It doesn't matter, because the pattern, because whatever that instrument is following, whatever moves that instrument is moving, is still correlated. All right. Might just be streaming for a little bit today. We are playing poker a little bit later. Did we figure out which one we're going to use? So I did my Bitcoin analysis. I know it was a little bit kind of quick, but nothing's really changed. I mean, it's in the same mode. If we look at Bitcoin,
order filled.
What do we get picked up on? We're getting picked up on CL. So that's why I don't want to get too aggressive on that at this point in time. So here. Oh, look at that GC selling off. You have to see that. Right now, it's long until, buying the pullbacks at the key areas that the system says. That's NQ. CL, we're at a decision zone on CL. CL is deciding, does it want to kind of really recapture that inflection zone. So we're not going to get too aggressive on that thing until we know. We have no other news events, I believe, on the calendar, don't we? Let's check real quick. Yeah, just the employment situation. We have the contract. We have the Baker Hughes rig count. That's not. I mean, that might affect something, but barely. I have no idea who Lisa Cook is. Should I know who Lisa Cook is? Should I know who that is? 1 p.m. Eastern, they speak. James Bullard. Should I care about who these people are? Okay, they speak. I mean, I guess it's on the calendar. Consumer credit, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we have a consumer credit report at 2. Which I probably won't be trading. Volatility's really slowed down. So I guess I picked the wrong time to stream, didn't I? I should have streamed earlier. I was focusing on trading. All right, let's work on what I was working on then. So I am what I am. Any questions? I don't see any questions, so obviously there's no questions. It's pretty clear the positions. I mean, it's a retest of the level here on CL, and then NQ. The next level on the NQ is really around 290. So there is a sell opportunity. There is a sell opportunity up there. We can look at the underline. Well, that's the daily. That aligns too with kind of like a weekly open there. So I would expect that's what it's stalling for. It's deciding, wants to push up to that weekly open, and then right around this 250 level is probably what it's looking for. We look at the internals and kind of see, can we see anything from the internals? Okay, damn it, dude. Friggin'. You know, what's stupid about TradingView, and I know I complain about it all the time, is if you have multiple tabs open, even in the app, it remembers the view. I wish it just remembered the view by chart. It would, like on this chart, I never want to see the side, this thing. But if I open it somewhere, it opens it everywhere. I'm getting closer and closer to figuring out how I could acquire TradingView and just acquire it and then tell the devs exactly what I want them to build. Okay, so we recaptured the weekly open on Big Tech. Recaptured all the rolling VWAPs. So I anticipate the underlines are going for their next level. We'll look at that here in a second. So here, Bitcoin is recaptured the weekly open. It's got really the technical analysis I shared yesterday is kind of spot on. I do say so myself. We will look at the underline on, let's look at the daily. Let's go look at the underlines of some of these things. Tesla's still in a momentum short and bias short environment. It's probably heading for the RDA. Apple had good. I saw that it had good. You can see here, pretty obvious that this is the zone that we're targeting for Apple. Pretty obvious. Meta's pulling back. That's interesting. Meta's pulling back. Meta might be coming back and doing a slow momentum check, or maybe even RDA check. It's still momentum and bias long. Did gap up, so maybe it's looking to fill this gap, which would pretty much correlate. I mean, a big gap fill with just a little overextension would hit the RDA, but it hasn't tested the RDA for a while. Last time it was at the RDA was January 2023, so it's due for an RDA check. NVIDIA as well. I talked about NVIDIA. Do I need to think about taking my profits? No. I guess I need to look and see where the system predicts the next prediction zone. Obviously, this level up here is really key. I mean, you just look at the daily. So 331, maybe it's looking to tag 331, 334. So I guess I'll stay in that trade for a while. Coin, I did get picked up from some coin yesterday. This is my buy zone. I've identified 2 buy zones on coin. I'm buying through here, and I'm buying through here. That's my coin strategy. Pretty simple. On coin, it's really simple. I'm buying here for a huge move. I've shared this idea for those that are wondering. If we go to our ideas, coin up 200% upside potential. So this is back when I shared the idea and I didn't have the second entry zone in there. So you'll see it hit our entry zone again. So we're in our entry zone. So just created a scale-in plan down below, and coin either goes up here or it goes to 0. That's kind of my plan. So really simple to trade. Don't need to think about it. Just trade it. Hi. Oh, here we go. Hey, Gothier. Welcome. Good to have you here again. Booyakasha. Amazon, Google. Google is checking the slow momentum. It probably is going to check the RDA. That'd be the best trade on the table. Right around here, the mixed 200s there. So obviously this zone right here, maybe buying Google on a pullback would probably be a good trade right in that zone. Amazon's The Amazon is below the mix 200. It actually did a RDA check, kind of following a consistent pattern, right? Came up, lost the RDA, came up, lost momentum, recaptured momentum, recaptured the RDA, came back, checked momentum, checked the RDA, overshoot, checked the RDA, did the same thing here. So that you missed the trade almost, but you could maybe scale in a little bit on pullbacks here with the expectation that it's probably going to go out and try to at least test the 200. And then if it does surpass this zone here, it's off to the races. So if it does surpass this zone here, obviously, it's pretty much who knows where it's going. But it's probably going at least, at a minimum, if we use the RDA extreme bands, the RDA extreme bands tells us at least it's going to 129. So, you know, from 105 to 129, that's probably where it's going. I trade off this, what I'm sharing here. This is how I would trade these things if I was trading them. I'm actually looking for things to trade right now. So there's one or two in here that I'm probably going to enter a position on based on what I've seen. I've got to do some non-stream analysis where I can actually just make sure that, hey, yeah, that fits the model.
Stop filled.
Also look at my correlations and make sure that I'm not too correlated in the tech industry. Meaning that I don't have too much capital deployed to the tech industry. We got stopped out. Golly. Yeah, we did not get picked up on that second, on that position on CL. Let me go back to our position so you can see. Now the question is here on this, it's now 1040. The question on this actual pullback here is, do we buy the pullback on this NQ because it didn't tap 290? That's where it wants to go. Well, at a minimum, I mean, it wants to go to 290, but it probably wants to tap at least. Yeah. I mean, there's kind of this zone between 290 and 330, which is a pretty big zone. So, but chart 4 tells us that I should do one or two things. I probably should just, yeah. I don't know if we're due for a sell-off. That's the second. Are we due for some profit taking? Let's see. It might be coming back and retesting the weekly open and maybe overshoot it on big tech. That's one thing it might be doing. So we should be watching the index. That's what we should be watching. Why does this say NAN? Why does that say NAN? Why does that say NAN? I'm testing the... I know why it says it. I'm just saying, why does it say it right now? You can see here we have our opening range indicator that'll be released here next week. Opening range low, mid, and high. So we are above the opening range right now. So maybe it's going back to test the opening range. So really the kind of the opportunity is right here. So a pullback on the index down to here. Yeah, we'll buy this pullback because we're waiting for one more pullback, and then we're waiting for a impulse up, and then we want to sell. But this is a previous week open right here, so obviously it's going for that. It's pretty obvious. Volatility's really slowed down. And then we're still only in 2 lots on the CL trade. So did not get picked up on that. The Dow is leading maybe. Maybe I do leave the Dow on here. It seems to be leading the sell-off. So maybe there is the Dow's going to the actual RDA. So we should actually buy that. So buy the RDA touch. Any questions? Anybody have any questions? Look, if you're new here, one of the best things you can do is join Discord down below. That's where all the great stuff happens, all the exciting stuff. You can ask questions. Uh, Booyakasha. See, I'm mad that I didn't get picked up more in CL there. But it is what it is. Well, we're going to put some protective stops in the market on CL. We're only in 2 lots. That's fine. Didn't get aggressive with that trade. We'll put 2 trailing stops in here. Give it a little bit of room above our entry. We're up about $500 in that trade. So the one aggressive trade would have been buying on the pullback there on the actual fast momentum. Yeah, vol has really slowed. Yeah, I should have bought that pullback just to be a little bit more aggressive. Probably what I should have done. What I should have did. Spotify must be having problems holding members because I just got a notification from them trying to sell things. It is New Music Friday. You know, a couple New Music Fridays ago, I added like 9 or 10 songs to playlists. That's actually a good New Music Friday. I can find 10 or so songs to add to my playlist. Not aggressive enough with those entries, and then we'll see what CL's gonna do. You know, we need to be mindful that it's hitting the RDA here, so I might have to move my stops or just so I don't need to look at this trade anymore. Is one the first. So people wondering, how do I trade usually off stream? Well, generally, once I'm in this trade here, I'm not looking at it because it's already managed. Same with this trade, I'm not looking at it because it's already managed. And then basically what will happen here on the CL trade is CL, I'll either get picked up or not. And then if I get picked up, then I'll either add to it or I'll manage it, or I'll get out or whatever. So I'm not watching charts. Breaking the law, breaking the law. So far, like I said, we're up, I don't know, 12 grand. Nothing to get aggressive on yet. I want to see volatility. Look, I'm a trader, man. I need volatility. This little volatility for a little bit and stop. Come on, man. You're killing me here, Smalls. I do have a soundboard on Discord now.
directly in the buttocks.
Okay. I need to get more than just the directly in the buttocks. But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs in the community. Still haven't rewatched Black Dynamite, so I need to probably do that. But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs in the community. All right, I'll be making coffee here in a second too. The CL trade is going to come up and try to take me out, isn't it? Well, I think what we do is we add to that. We add to that bad boy. I think that's what we do. I mean, really, the best place to add would be right here. So I think we add one more if it wants to come up. Give it a little bit of room. That's not room, man. Cancel bids. This is stupid with TradingView. Tradeovate. It doesn't allow me to have, for some reason, doesn't allow me to toggle on shortcuts to more than one chart, which is utterly stupid. I know I complain about these platforms, but like every single day there's a new thing that comes up with these stupid ass platforms. That's like, come on, man, do better.
Order filled.
All right, there we go. We got picked up on another CL lot there. Not going to get too aggressive with it because it might just decide to use this zone. One of the reasons why Trade Room Alpha. I want my audio, man. I need audio. So that's the 60 on CL. We got 7 minutes left in these 60 candles. So on the actual futures market. So looking at your chart 3 members, alphas, is something important to do. We're going to look and see, project out where chart 3 is going to close, and then project out what might be the reaction of the close. Gonna have to make some coffee. Where you at, buddy? I don't even know where my little dog is. It was a great day the other day for him to go out and chill. Bark at birds. Do whatever little dogs do. I mean, we got squirrels bigger than him, so that doesn't bother him though. He still thinks that he's the alpha. At this point, I think, any major pullback on NQ is a buy, but you got to pick your buy spot. It's pretty simple picking your buy spot if you trade our system. So, like, I really shouldn't have to, like, with alphas. I mean, if an alpha, if you have a question where you should do your buy spot, put it in the alpha den, and then I'll answer it, or Trade Room Alpha, and I'll answer it. But it should be really clear where your buys should be if there is a deeper pullback. CL's being stubborn about its sell-off here. Doesn't want to sell off. I'm giving it plenty of room. So we'll see. There's no I noticed on Trade08 there's no like how much did it go, or there's no like measuring tool. Yeah, that sucks. Guess I've never had the need or the urge to measure stuff. Let's look at the NDX. Let's see what it's doing. So NDX coming back, hitting the slow momentum. So I would be prepared at this point in time for both. I'd be prepared for this range here. Meaning, if it really wants to pull back and get volatile, down to 134. So that's what I'd be prepared for. You know.
Order filled. Order filled.
We'll see. I'm going to take a little bit of risk here. I'm going to think it's maybe going to roll over. I could be wrong. Could be drastically wrong. So I reversed the position, and then I'm going with chart 2. I'm aggressively trading this pullback if it's going to pull back. Well, not really aggressively. I'm only in 2 lots. So let's not get too crazy. So, but I'm short here for a deeper pullback. I'd like to see a pullback down to the RDA. A little bit late on that trade. I probably should have entered it earlier. Sorry. Not showing the trade. I'm a little late to that. Probably should have entered it earlier if I was going to decide to sell the sell-off, but I'm only in 2 lots waiting to get picked up, not chasing the trade. You don't chase the trade on a heavy momentum and bias day, especially if you don't have your predictive entry. Right, so I got an opportunity to enter that trade about 20 minutes ago, and I didn't. So again, I know this isn't my fade. Super fader man's not coming back. It's literally just I am well, I can tell you right now, I'm entering the trade exactly how I should if I'm fading a heavy momentum long. Let's look at this. Hopefully everybody's okay with watching this with me. Y'all okay watching this with me? Well, y'all don't have a choice. I don't know. I just saw something on Twitter. So where is this at? I have no idea what it is. I'm not endorsing it by watching it. I just want to.
And a lot of people see me as, the Bitcoin maximalists. They're the most evil people in the world. I hate the Bitcoin maximalists.
Well, look, can I just say something to the Bitcoin maximalists? I just want to say something to the Bitcoin maximalists. I give you a hard time. I do. I feel like a lot of the stuff you say is toxic. Hey, why? Because my audience isn't Bitcoin maximalists, and it feels like personal attacks.
Bitcoin maximalists, they're the most evil people in the world. I hate the Bitcoin maximalists.
Whoa.
I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but I'm definitely a Bitcoin high supporter. I don't know. I'm just going through Twitter here, seeing what's going down. I saw BitBoy. Literally, I could care less about politics. AMD. Let's see what AMD is trending on. Any questions? Anybody want to interact with me? Anybody want to say hi? Anybody want to say, hey, man, watching the stream? AMD sells. Okay. Microsoft spokesperson Frank Shaw has denied that AMD is involved with Athena. Okay, who cares? After removing the bit about Microsoft financing AMD's AI efforts.
Order filled.
Microsoft's denying. Okay. Oh, I see. That's why. So it's another AI thing. That's what it is. It's all about AI. Maybe we'll come back to that. Look, there's nothing for me to do except for sit here and enter the trades. Oh, we're starting to see some volatility. I need to pay attention to the charts. Checking in. How you doing today? Good. I've been up about 12, 15, or 12 grand. Good. Thanks for checking in. Up about 12. I don't know. I don't know what I'm up yet. I'll know exactly. We'll see after this fade. Hey man, watching the stream. Sweet. Good to see you. No, I just was wondering if there's anybody else out there. So thanks for checking in. So right now, I need to be a little mindful of kind of fading two markets. CL, we're down on that trade now. And so right here, I'm going to enter here. That's the next entry. And then here's the next entry on CL. So things are starting to get volatile. I need to really make sure that I'm not on the wrong side of these trades. I was going to make coffee too, man. I need to make my coffee before or like before I stream or I need to plan. I need to strategically plan my coffee making. I guess I could get a butler. I don't think I could ever have a butler. I guess I could. So, Asenki, since you are watching the stream, I wanted to comment on something you said in the den. Multiple times, like hundreds of times, I mentioned the concept that you have to project the indicators. And it never is a perfect touch. It's always a zone. I mention it consistently on the streams. I mention it consistently everywhere. I mean, that's one of the... Every indicator is lagging. And every indicator you have to project out. Like when you're doing visual... I'm sure I offhanded even mentioned it within the kind of like the scale in trading. I probably should have overtly mentioned it, but I mention it so much that I assume people get it, that any indicator is lagging. And while it looks like a perfect touch and I say this, I don't know, I say it so often that I just assume everybody knows. But after the end of the day, something that looks so perfect wasn't perfect in real time. So I probably could have gave better context, I guess, to... Here's the thing. I could go through and show all the spreadsheets and my back testing as far as the other back testing things that we were doing. 95% of the people that are in the alpha that are members aren't going to watch it. They're not going to care. Plus, they're not going to have the ability to do it themselves. So I could show that, but I have limited time and I look at the highest impact things that I can do. And what could the average trader do to prove that this strategy has some viability? That's the philosophy that I go into when I do kind of my training or I do anything, is like, hey, yeah, I could show, most people don't have the patience or the ability to do the amount of back testing, data analytics that I do. I don't even really know what I'm doing half the time because I'm not formally trained in it. So, I mean, I'm good at it now, but I had to teach myself. I don't think it's worth many traders teaching themselves how to do back testing data analytics. Like, I don't think you need to do it. Like, because if you're a day trader, you can come up with a new strategy, eyeball test it, right? In historical charts, and then forward test it either in demo or with limited amount of capital. My best ideas, my best trading has come from that strategy, which is like, hey, I'm starting to see this trend. I then go back and I visually kind of test it over the course of a couple weeks in charts. And then I say, okay, well, that's great. And then I forward test it. I like to forward test with live capital, meaning that whenever I implement a new strategy, I'm using real capital. It's in a separate account. And I forward test that specific strategy, but it's at such a limited capital amount that I'm not that it's meaningless, but it just doesn't. It's like, trading, one lot or trading 3 lots on the MNQ comparatively for me is not meaningless, but it is how I do my forward testing. So, for instance, I'm working on a new strategy right now based on one of the indicators that I've had for a while. When it pops up, it seems to be like a really high probability trade when it pops up. It only pops up maybe once or twice a day, maybe. But when it pops up, that trade is awesome. Well, I'm testing that strategy, forward testing it, because I've done enough of the eyeball testing to then devise, okay, what does it look like in real time? Like, how hard is this to trade in real time? We only got picked up for 3 on the NQ, so I'm going to put some trailing stops in there just because we are fading the market, so we don't, it could rip up at any time. It could decide, you know what, we don't want to sell off. So, and then we're going to get rid of our offers, and then the NQ selling off or CL selling off as well. We're probably going to get knocked out of this NQ trade just because I don't have patience with it. I just don't, we're fading it. And while I probably should have a little bit more patience with the sell-off, it's at a momentum check right now.
Stop filled.
Yeah, no, and I get that.
Stop filled.
By the way, I'm not trying to argue with you or say that your point was invalid. Your point's totally valid. And I know it's good to kind of remind people of kind of that point. I guess I do have to remember that we have a lot of new alphas joining, so they might not know that, they might not get that. So I do appreciate. I just wanted to give context to why. I feel like I've said it so many times that people should know it. But one of the things that we're working on are 2 different things. No, and I appreciate you sharing. I'm not. I don't want you to. Don't feel like I'm don't appreciate what you shared. That's what I want you to know. That I appreciate you just sharing that, but I wanted to give context. It's one of the reasons why I didn't specifically stop in that new training module and say, hey, this is really important, is because I think I mentioned it. One of the things that we're working on 3 different things. We're working on paths people can take to go through the training based on their specific goals. We're working on an FAQ, which is I call it, I don't know how to better say this because I don't have a better way to describe it. It's not a dumb FAQ, but it's more like a common language FAQ. So it's more like, what's the RDA, right? So then that FAQ will explain what the RDA is in plain language and then point to the actual training that we have. Here's the RDA, here's an explanation, here's how it's used in entries, here's how it's used as a magnet. So we're working on what I'm realizing is the training as I'm adding to it, as we've added to it, as we're adding to it, as we're adding new sections, it can be even confusing for someone even that's been in the training for a while, that's been in alpha, that's been a member. So what we're doing is we're contextualizing everything across kind of 3 different individual sections. For instance, there will be like a philosophy section. That philosophy section will describe the philosophy of what we trade. So for instance, that would be your point would be one of those paragraphs or one of those sections that would say, exact, it looks perfect in, I don't know exactly how it would be worded because we're working on kind of the key questions, but it would be something like, hey, it looks perfect on the chart in hindsight. Why doesn't it look perfect in real time? And then we would explain that concept. And then we would point to the areas of our training that we explain that concept. So we have 3 kind of, what we've done is we've looked at, okay, all the future training we want to add. I've looked at all the past training. I've looked at, how do we contextualize all this for someone? The other thing is that we get a lot of questions, right? And I want to be able to point people to, instead of answering the same question time and time again, I want to point someone to say, oh yeah, that's on the philosophy page, question 7. And then you'll probably have
Stop field.
You'll have more information than you probably want to actually answer that, to get that answer. So no, but I appreciate, you like I said, mentioning it and sharing it. But I wanted to give context just so you understand, or that just so that maybe if you were wondering, like, is this mentioned? Yeah, it's mentioned. It's a big part because I have a firm belief that every indicator is lagging. I don't care what indicator you use.
Order filled.
So every indicator is lagging. And then you have to, that's a power and a strength. So I look at the aspect that an indicator is lagging as a power. Some people look at it as a weakness. I think it's a power, but you have to know how to use it. It's like anything else. It's like, if you have a power. Now, this is a pretty aggressive fade, obviously, because we're at a momentum check. And it's the first momentum check in a while. So this fade might actually not work. So I'm not going to give it much room. I'm literally trading chart 2, and it's either going to work out pretty quick or it's going to fail. So this trade's either going to work out really quick or it's going to fail. So I'm literally just going to put stops here, and then we're either going to get stopped out. Because I know once we add the swing trading training, and then we add the, trading yourself out of a job training, it's just going to add more complexity to what's in the training. And we need to organize it to make sure that people can get quick answers to maybe a specific solution or challenge that they're having at that given time. We need to organize the training in a way where basically where to go to get answers around specific things. That's one of the things that I've wanted to work on for a while. And now with my nephew kind of joining, we have a little bit of time to do it. Thanks, Mr. Confert. I'm working and also driving, but listening to a lot of your YouTubes. Sweet. Hopefully you've joined Discord as well. You're driving? Sweet. That's the first time I've ever heard anybody actually driving and watching the stream. I mean, I do listen to sometimes, because sometimes there's things that aren't on podcasts, but then the podcasts are on YouTube. So then I don't watch the YouTube, but I do play YouTube. Anybody that has YouTube Red, can you play YouTube videos and then turn off your phone? Do you know what I'm saying? So for instance, I sometimes when I go to sleep, I listen to YouTube, interviews or podcasts or stuff. But the challenge is that if I turn off my phone, or if I, turn off the screen, the YouTube videos stop. Do you get the ability to do that? Oh, okay. So that, gosh, I've held out so long in buying YouTube Red because I just cannot, for the life of me, just like I don't go to Starbucks anymore. I refuse to support them. So I don't go to Starbucks anymore. Oh, okay. I guess thanks Mark, thanks X Vector. Um, I guess I should buy YouTube Red today because Tony has it. I should have asked Tony too, but yeah, and no ads exactly. Tony was so annoyed here because, like I said, I refused to pay for YouTube Red, but Tony was like, I can't watch YouTube here, man, like because he pays for Red, and he's like, I can't like these ads, I can't do it. So he was frustrated every time we'd watch a YouTube video here. So Mr. Kefart, is it Kefart or Kefert? I kept up on this run because I normally fade, so I did well before work. Sold the very top low. Get the momentum trades better. Yeah, I mean I ordinarily there was that right around old me at 9:15 would have faded the market. Old me would have faded the market at 9:15. That little kind of stall at 9:15. Old me would have been super fader, man. New me, I was buying. I was buying that whole pullback because I said, look, there's going to be one more impulse up, like at least one more impulse up. It was obvious. So new me, not new me, but the me that doesn't fight the awesome trade system that I created was buying that pullback, and that was obviously the right mode. But then this pullback here, it was obvious. I'm a little late on the fade, but it was obvious that it, you get YouTube music included too. But yeah, now to me, I see the fade down, maybe down to the RDA, and then we're looking to buy. I'll bet you're trading Butler, but I'll trade you.
Stop filled.
Is there a
stop filled?
Is there a TaskRabbit where you can maybe just get a butler for like an hour or something? I don't know if they call them butlers anymore. That's probably like anti-PC language, and I know PC anti-woke language is probably butler is not. They're probably called, I don't know, home, like in-home engineers or something. That's probably what they're called. In-home service engineers. That's probably what butlers are called now. In-home service engineers. Yeah, with YouTube Music, I don't know if I could. I mean, I've invested so much time in Spotify, they pretty much got me for life. Meaning that I ditched my MP3s, I ditched Apple Music or Apple playlists and all that stuff, and I just decided to go with, I got out of those trades on the NQ. And I decided to go with Spotify.
Order filled.
And since obviously, I own nothing and I'll be happy. According to the World Economic Forum, I'm living the dream with Spotify, where basically I don't own any of that music and I should be happy. Yeah, I think you have to make a decision. I mean, I guess we're fortunate, obviously, because income-wise, I don't have to worry about the subscriptions. The only subscriptions I don't buy is based on, like YouTube. I just couldn't bring myself to support the company based on their asinine rules and their destruction of free speech. I just couldn't bring myself to financially support them any more than I am. But at some point in time, you got to give in if you don't want ads. The ads are getting worse on YouTube. For those that don't have Red, I'm just telling you, the ads are getting worse. They are getting worse. They're starting to be pretty bold about their ads now. And that's probably their way of like forcing me to actually, okay, now this is an aggressive fade because we have the momentum holding up. So actually, I'm in one lot, and this only works out if it comes up and it sells off. Now, why am I fading this? I do believe that it's going to probably sell off deeper based on what the price action that I'm seeing. But in reality, you're kind of in a no trade zone. If you're new to the system or you're new to trading, this is kind of a no trade zone for you. I mean, you should be trading momentum, meaning that you should have bought that pullback. And then if you bought that pullback, you're probably in a little bit of profit right now, but you're protecting your position with trailing stops. I'm selling it obviously because
Order filled.
I'm an aggressive trader, and I'm targeting the RDA down to 312. That's what I'm targeting. So we have to look at the NDX. Now the NDX is slowly coming. Like I said, I'm one or two things are going to happen here on this. It's probably going to hit this 5-minute level here at 181 on the NDX, and it's going to use that as support, and then it's just going to slowly grind up because we're heading into the lunch session. Or it's going to do a pretty fierce break, find support down below, and then continue its upward momentum to take out this weekly level, and then ultimately go out into the 320 to 360 range is really what I'm looking at. So that's what I'm looking at here. Yeah, Mark said, I used to have Spotify but paying the same price for the same music and then also YouTube Premium. Yeah, I mean, the challenge is, right, well, at least for me, I've invested a lot of time in like making playlists on Spotify. Also, well, I guess it would work the same. I wonder how CarPlay works with YouTube Music comparatively to Spotify. I don't usually use a lot of CarPlay either because it's kind of annoying. And it depends what car you have. CarPlay can, even though CarPlay is the same, some cars, I mean, we've done a lot of traveling, so I don't usually connect my phone to it because I'm very security conscious, so I don't connect my phone to any just random car we're renting. But some people like K-pop in my family, and they have this desire to subject me to K-pop when we're on trips. So I then become a middle-aged man. I guess I'm above middle-aged man. I become a around 50-year-old man that knows way too much about K-pop. I have way too much knowledge about K-pop for who I am. That's my personal feeling. I don't know if my knowledge of K-pop exceeds my knowledge of trading, but it's close. And talk about a cult. Man, K-pop is a cult. The music industry here would dreams nightly if they could have the level of control, contracts, and everything
Order filled.
that the typical K-pop artist has. It is asinine, that industry. They basically took the American pop industry and they figured out, like, how can we make these people indentured slaves? Like, how can we do that? Like, is there a way we could do this and everybody will be happy and we'll be smiling about it? Yeah, I think we can figure this out. I have learned to appreciate the music a little bit, slightly. You know what? Super Fader Man once again coming out, and I'm down. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not showing my positions. I'm down 560. Yep. Should have been long. I don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. So I might have to call the trade here in a second though, because it definitely
Order filled.
did find support of that zone, did find support of that. So once again, I'm arguing with the chart. I know I'm arguing with the chart. But I'm also fading, or I'm actually scaling in exactly how I would want to scale in on something like this, although I started a little bit early on 2 of the positions. We're only in 4 lots. I started a little bit early on 2 of the positions. So once again, this is an aggressive trade. It's a fade trade. We're in a clear bias and momentum environment on every chart. as far as the NQ. So every chart of the NQ is bias and momentum long. Well, chart 2 is obviously in a changeover state, but every other chart is bias and momentum long. So I'm fading the market with, at least on chart 4, we do have room down to 224. If it does sell off, there is room down to 224 on chart 4. We're entering right around 260. Yeah. What's our basis position? 251. So 251 is our net position right now. So there's room down to 224 on chart 4. But also we just had the 5-minute candle close. So this next 5-minute candle, if it follows through, it probably will come up to these levels, or it might come back and test a key level of the previous candle and then hold the momentum and then rip up. So that's kind of something to watch for. Also, the number of ads creators are, yeah, exactly, Stockbot. You're saying the number of ads, exactly. Like, so for instance, I watched a really interesting video yesterday. I don't remember what it was on. Oh yeah, because for those that don't know, I'm writing novels. I'm writing screenplays. I've almost had ones sold, but I got to the point where they couldn't guarantee it was going to be made, so I just backed out because I want to see it made. I'm not writing these things just to kind of like have it optioned and sit on the shelf for 10 years. No, I want to see it made. So either they're going to make it or I'm going to make it. One or two things are going to happen. Anyways, I was watching a breakdown of Game of Thrones and the dialogue and from an editor's perspective. So this guy's an editor and he was breaking it down. And every time he hit a point where he was making like a really salient point, it happened like 6 times. It cut to video. Yeah, or cut to ads. Like he said, okay, now I'm going to show you exactly how the editor correlated with the writing. Bam, it went to like 2 ads. And the first one was unskippable. I'm like, okay, all right. It's either I stop watching YouTube, because it happened like 3 times in a row. I'm like, okay, I either stop watching YouTube or you're going to get me. You're going to get me for red. They're getting pretty bold with their whole ad situation here. Yeah, I turn off my screen. I drive 8 hours a day and got to learn as much as I can. I have the future because I paid $13 a month. Oh, the future. Yeah. Now, exactly, Mr. I don't know how to properly say your name. But back in my real estate days, I used to do that too. For a while, we used to put out these things called bandit signs, where basically those are signs. Those are highly effective marketing, believe it or not. Those signs that you see on the road that say, need to sell your house, or like rent to own or stuff. You wouldn't think that those signs are effective. They're actually really effective. So there's a period of like 3 months where I was testing out that marketing, and then we hired someone to do it, where I would, for like 2 or 3 hours, I'd drive, and then I just listened to, well, at that time, I like Coast to Coast. So I don't know if anybody knows what Coast to Coast is, but I'd listen to Coast to Coast. But then I wouldn't listen to the show that's currently on because I hate the ads. I subscribed to their podcast or their back episodes, and I listened to old Coast and Coast episodes that didn't have the ads. So that's kind of what I would be doing. Or I'd be listening, like you said, to something I want to learn training-wise or whatever. Yeah, when you have long driving, when part of your job or whatever, you really have that opportunity to have things on the background, right? And listen to things in the background, get knowledge. Then if you're anything like me, you probably get bored of that after a while and you just want music. You just want your brain to just turn off. All right, well, we got an opportunity to take some profit on that pullback here, but like I said, it's aggressive. This is an aggressive trade. So we're just calling the bluff on any push up. And then I'm waiting for that touch of 224 at a minimum. 224 is what I'm waiting for. Yeah. So far we're up. Well, the CL trade still, I'm still giving it tons of room to work out. We didn't get picked up on YM. GC is pulled back. I guess if I saw that the sell at 2025 was a good opportunity, I could buy up to that range, but I just don't. I guess I should do at least a participation trade there since I'm here trading.
Order filled.
I'll do one more here. So I did do a participation trade in GC.
Order filled.
Add another lot to NQ. We're up to 5 lots on that trade now. It is a fade, once again, so I'm not going to get too aggressive, but it does appear that it's having a challenge. For members, if you look at Trade Room Alpha, we have, in the wild, we have a reverse stair-step pattern on chart 2. So I'll share that in Trade Room Alpha. So you'll see there, reverse stair-step pattern on chart 2. That's what I've been trading. So you wonder why am I shorting it or why am I fading it? Well, I saw that the reverse stair-step pattern was starting to form on the first stair, and then it's continued to form. So that's why I've been selling every pop there. And then, yeah, it's at a terrible area to fade the market right at a momentum check. I agree. So I would not argue with you on that point. Sorry, I'm just communicating with someone. Ah, man. Look at that CL trade. This is why you don't fade the market. It's holding up. That might be the RDA touch. Yeah. I'm going to get out of the CL trade.
Order filled.
I stuck with it long enough. It didn't sell off. So I gave it plenty of opportunity to sell off. It didn't. Now it's, and plus I'm in another fade here that I'm being a little aggressive on. And GC, that participation trade's working out. We're up $180. Sweet. Let's see if we can stay with that for a little bit and maybe get picked up on our next level. Right around the 226 spot 5. And then not getting too aggressive on the short. CL still might sell off, but at the same time I gave it plenty of opportunity to sell off. I was in profit for a while. Didn't take any profit. I was looking for the longer trade there. Now here's a key point. This is really a good learning. Yeah, I'm with you there. I really hate ads too. I am at that point now. So here's a good learning, real-time learning thing. Not arguing with the chart. So what do we have? Well, the 5 minute obviously hit our momentum indicator, and it's holding. It's held 1, 2, 3, 4 times that it's been tested here. And then I'm shorting the market, obviously. So I'm arguing with chart 5. Chart 4 is at the kind of the same, almost has the same picture as chart 4. I could show you chart 4, and none of them, I mean, it would look almost the same as chart 5. Chart 2, once again, we're aggressively kind of trading the stair-step pattern, calling a bluff that it's going to break out. But we are arguing with that chart. And then chart 3 is the only one that actually looks like there's a potential that it might sell off. Chart 3 is the only one that's painting in a way that we would expect maybe a sell-off based on the way chart 3 is painting. So, or positioning itself. So chart 3 is the only one that looks like there's a potential that there could be a sell-off. Other than that, we're arguing with three out of our 4 charts. Not really 2 out of our 4 charts, because chart 2 you can never really argue with, or you can, but yeah, I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not a superhero movies don't rank really high for me. So I'm not, it's nothing I'm ever really too excited. I'll watch them, but I'm okay not seeing them in the theater. But I would say that, yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy is probably one of the ones that, when do I have a, is the one that I, or is the series that I would say is different, right? A little bit more entertaining. Doesn't have the same shtick every time. In another 3 years, you'll be saying should have a lot less. I don't know what that means. Probably because you're driving and you probably can't type properly. Well, we should have added more in that GC trade. Was a pullback to momentum. We're only up $270. So I should have traded that higher. At least 3 lots I should have done. But I did say it was a participation trade. We're looking at, we'll mix in the middle between the RDA and the VWAP there. We'll see if we get picked up. All right, now our fade trade on the NQ is potentially going to go tag that 224 level. I'm looking for more of the RDA if it does continue to sell off at 214. But we'll wait a little bit here to put in, we're only in 5 lots on that thing. Plus it's not, hasn't broke momentum. So look, it's still holding momentum. Until it breaks momentum, I'm going to wait for it to break momentum and then I'll put in trailing stops. All next level. There we go. Is it going to hold momentum? Looks like it is. So one of the things is that if you're new here, you want to join Discord down below. It's one of the best places to join. Yeah. We are fading this move. Not going to add anymore. We've got a good 5 basis position. If it sparks up, our last point that we probably look to add at this point in time is right where I'm at. So right where these positions are, that's the last point. And then we're going to have to make a decision pretty quick. Do we stick with the trade, or do we or do we get out? Meaning that, okay, it had an opportunity to sell off 4 or 5 times and it didn't sell off. So now look at that CL trade. Now it's selling off, that little bastard. I don't like where I'm at. That's why. It's just a terrible area on the 60 to actually be in a seller or a buyer. It's in a no trade zone, CL. So I'll stay out of that. I do wish I would have done more of a participation trade on the actual GC than just one lot. Would have been nice to make more than just $290. Or who knows if we'll be able to net that much, but there we go. Yeah, it's holding momentum. Like I said, arguing with the chart. I'm not going to argue with the position that long. I'll cut the loss. So it's not something I'm going to stick with. I'm not committed to the sell-off. But we are hitting a time where basically, yeah, probably should have been momentum there. We'll see.
Order filled. Order filled.
There we go. Calling the bluff really on any. I'm calling the bluff that it's going to rip up. Could be wrong. But we're buying it. We're selling at key levels on chart 2. So it's not like I'm just randomly placing my entries at some random area of the chart. We're using chart 2 for, okay, there's a reaction area here. Maybe it uses this reaction area to sell off. But look at that. Clear arguing with the chart. I probably should have been momentum. As you can see here, probably should have been momentum. Would have been a less stressful way to trade if you get stressed in trading. I don't really get stressed anymore, but if you get stressed in trading, maybe you should trade a less stressful way. Let's look at the Twitter and see what's going down on that. Lakers at Warriors undergo fantasy. I don't know what that is. AMD. No idea who Jonathan Groff is. Maybe I should. Silver squeeze. Oh, look at that. Well, look at SLV. Yeah. Okay, that's a really great probably representation of what this actually is about. This first post here is probably a really good representation. What a sight to behold on Friday morning. Keep stacking, guys. Silver squeeze. 6,000 ounces of silver, and I'm still buying. Cheers to that. No matter how you feel about guns, you should. Yeah, I agree with that. But what does that have to do with silver? All right, well, let's look at the SLV. Let's look at the SLV while we watch these charts unfold. Let's go here. I've been saying for years now that SLV to me is going to have a multi. Why don't I have SLV on here? Oh, because it's not part of my daily analysis. Yeah, it is. Well, we'll look at just the silver. So what's this silver squeeze they're talking about? That doesn't look like a squeeze to me. Maybe I'm drunk. I don't know. That doesn't look like a squeeze. Why is that trending on Twitter? What is the silver squeeze about? I will tell you, it's hard to get precious metals in real life. So if you have a source of precious metals, please share. You probably won't share because you have a source. So if you have a reliable source to get precious metals without going through a bunch of hoops, and challenges, I could probably guess that you're not willing to share that because you know how hard and rare that is. Look at that. We're up 470 on that trade. I should have done more on that participation trade. That's a participation trade, y'all. Participation trade is like you don't, for whatever reason, you don't have high confidence in the trade. Maybe you missed it. Well, whatever size you trade at, a participation trade is like a really just, for me, a participation trade really should be 3 lots, if not 6 or 9. But, I'm working on, I got about another, I'll feel, if I trade the way I've been trading this week for another couple weeks, then I will feel like I've solved my major fade problem. I'm still fading, but my fades are much more precise. I'm also not sticking with trades that I shouldn't stick with. So if I trade like this the next couple weeks, then I'll start scaling up slowly. But this isn't a habit that just randomly came up. This is a habit that I've developed over 2 or 3 years. So I'm not just going to break a habit that I've developed over 2 or 3 years in like 2 weeks. So I need to make sure that I've properly broken that habit. So I'm totally okay with not getting super aggressive until I've identified that, hey, yeah, I've what's the word I'm looking for? I've become one once again with the system. I strayed, one aspect of my trading strayed too far away from the system. So now I'm reuniting with the system. Me and the Rex Dog system, we're on the beach, we're holding hands, we're walking down, the sun is setting. So we just need to do that for a couple more weeks. And then I'll feel like me and the Rex Dog system are back in love. But I was fighting the system for a while, so it's pretty important that we spend some time on the beach. Have you guys heard of the real story? I'll share this. So let me look it up first. Well, let me just share. I want to, so we can talk about it.
Stop filled.
All right, we got stopped out of that GC trade for some good and then our fade trade's starting to work out possibly. And then we're waiting to see whether or not we're going to get picked up at the level we want to get picked up on the actual GC trade. So selling that there. So let's see. Well, we'll see this trade, and then I'll end with a kind of maybe something you haven't heard. Maybe you have. If you haven't joined Discord, you want to join Discord. Look, this weekend's actually an awesome weekend to actually get started. So if you've been watching the streams and you're saying, hey, there's something here, join Discord or go to the website, read about the system, click on get started now, or join Discord, send me a DM and say, how do I get started? This weekend's a really great weekend to get started with kind of diving into the training, learning a trade system that's highly effective. You're seeing me execute it here. There we are. Look at that. We're up $1,500. Not bad. Let's wait a little bit. We're in 7 lots. Let's put some trailing stops in, because at this point in time, it should be behaving the way we expect. If it doesn't, then we are wrong. So there we are. We're up roughly 1,800, 1,700. I'm putting trailing stops into the market. We will be taking some profit right around 0.25. So I'll put like a profit target at 225. Sorry, not 0.25. Hopefully we won't get knocked out of the volatility here when it pulls back. I just don't want to take a loss. So I'm putting our trailing stops relatively close to our entry. But you can see it's pretty volatile. So when you're fading, you got to take profits quick. But if you're going to do trailing stops like I do, you got to be willing to lose some profit and basically say, well, I'm losing some profit. That's the way you got to trade it if you want to trade it and kind of be part of the move that might be a larger move. But if you have our system, you know where to put your stops. You're using chart 2. But we might just get knocked out of this whole position here. So you can't be frustrated. You can't be chasing the trade then. You just got to accept that that's trading. That's the way it rolls. But we have our trailing stops pretty much at this point in time. We're locked in at some profit level. Obviously not at the profit level that we'd like to be at. I mean, I know it's hard to see here. We could drop down to the 1 minute if you want to see the action. So the 1 minute, I never trade the 1 minute, but you can drop down to the 1 minute to kind of see some of the action. Look at that. We're going to get knocked out. Bam, bam, bam.
Stop filled.
Asshole. Not you. The market taking me out when I want to make profit. I mean, we're making profit. But, you know, I want to make more if you're going to sell off, man. I mean, the other way you could do this, you could just put your trailing stops up above and just take a little bit more risk. That's the other way you could do this. So, but once again, we're fading the market in a heavy, long, volatile day. So, you know, little asshole taking us out. I could have took some profit down below too, but we're giving a little bit of room. You fade the market on a heavy, especially on a Friday like this where it's a gap and go day, heavy momentum day. You know, the buyers, they just friggin', you know, they buy every pullback.
Stop filled. Stop filled.
There we go. Little asshole took us out. Well, we made it about $1,000 on that trade. That was pretty disappointing. Wanted to make at least a couple thousand. Friggin' market, man. Not letting me make the amount of money I want to make. You little jerk. Keep going. I'm going to sell you again. I don't believe you're going to hold that. I believe that was fake. But I'll sell it again up. Otherwise, we're long for one lot. Figure I might not write it up. So we're writing it up. So we're long. So long on one lot. Figured why not write it up? Maybe it is going to hold the momentum. Maybe I shouldn't argue with it here. Fine. Jeez, I'll buy you, you little jerk. Gonna make me buy the market now. Fine, I'll buy the market. I'll trade the system. I'll trade with momentum. You little jerk. If you want to go up, I'll go with you. Pick me up. Dude, you didn't pick me up. Not going to get aggressive going with you, but we'll go with you. If you really want to go higher, we'll go with you higher.
Order filled.
Okay. There we go. We got picked up for one more. Not getting too aggressive with it. Because once again, we missed the best entry, which was the momentum check. The exceeding momentum check that I should have been trading instead of thinking that it's going to go check the RDA. So I guess I could look at that trade and say, well, why were you fading? So I guess I could say that, you know, my fade tendencies kind of reverberated, came back. All right, we'll see. Now this is where I'm either going to regret that I'm going long or wish that I was selling right here in this zone. So depending on how this pulls back, I'm going to either regret that I wasn't super fader man, or I'll be happy that I actually traded the system. I'm not trading at decent size either. I'm only trading a couple lots here and there, but oh, well, yep. See, I will wish now that I actually did trade momentum and I traded at size. As you can see here, the system told us to go momentum long, and I faded the system. And then I decided, okay, let me listen to the system. And instead of trading the high probability trade, I faded the market and didn't take profit quick enough, didn't reverse quick enough. And now I'm only in 2 lots, up only $360 on 2 lots, $370. That's what happens when you don't properly trade with the system and you think you're smarter than what the market's telling you.
Stop field.
Got stepped out. Sorry, I'm not communicating what I'm doing. Well, I mean, it's really clear. Yeah, gold. Now, maybe I missed that RDA trade, so maybe I got too aggressive, but I'm going to wait for that tap. So there we have the hour close. We have the 12 o'clock close. Now, I want it to tap 290 before I start selling again. Otherwise, I should be buying. I was only in one lot there. We're up about 240. We're waiting for some trades to roll out. Good thing I got out of that crude. Sorry, sell. That was kind of the right mode there. So look, we'll end with this. I will put in a sell here just to kind of, where is that at? I'm putting in a sell right around here. That's my sell. That's to get picked up and probably start shorting. But see, that's so close to that weekly open. It really should be here. That's where it should be. So I guess, not I guess. There's no guessing. System tells us to go long, we should go long.
Order filled.
So we're not going to willy-nilly go long. But we're going to put in our entries where the system might pull back. And then we're looking for a test up to that upper level. It might not happen till the afternoon, so I have to be mindful of we're in the lunch session. It might not be ready to make that move now, so I'm not going to get too aggressive with it. But that seems to be where the market wants to go. So let's trade that instead of trading against it. And then, well, so I'll end the stream here with this. If y'all haven't heard of this before, this is pretty interesting. I find it really interesting. Number one, join Discord down below. We do have a Bravo group. It's free if you want to like. A Bravo group is designed for like you want to be in an alpha, you like the system, you want to adopt the system, you want to adopt the thinking of how we trade. That's what the Bravo group's for. So it's free to join. Show up to Discord and say, how do I join the Bravo group? But our expectation is that you're serious about trading. Maybe you're not sure if what we have here is a fit for you yet. Maybe you can't afford it. That's fine. Bravo group is free, but that's really, you're there to adopt our style of trading and our thinking, because you want to be an elite trader. You want to be an alpha. So that's what that's for. So let's talk about this here. So join Discord down below. If you haven't, you'll see a link on TradingView, and you'll see a link on any other platform that you're watching on down below. So let's talk about the Tongan castaways. Have you guys heard of this story? It's a really interesting story. And if I can find, in Discord in the off topic, if I can find like maybe a video on YouTube that explains this. So there was this group of, in 1965, if you guys haven't heard this, it's kind of like the Lord of the Flies, kind of a real world Lord of the Flies. But there's this group of this 6 Tongan teenagers, and they left their kind of, where they lived in the city. So they didn't live but they lived near the beach, and they left because they were in I think a Catholic school or whatever. They just didn't like being in school, and so they basically one night they stole a local fisherman's boat that they all of them hated this local fisherman, and they got in the boat. They didn't really have a lot of provisions. Their goal, I think, was to get to Sri Lanka or somewhere else. They just wanted to leave. They just hated school, and basically, they got in this boat. They only had a couple coconuts and some stuff like that, some bananas, I think. And then the first night, or one of the first nights, they all fell asleep. Which is you really shouldn't do if you're on a boat, unless you're trained or they weren't really seafaring people. They didn't. I think one of them I think had fishing and was a fisherman and understood somewhat about the sea, but the majority of them didn't. Anyways, one night, basically the boat, the rudder got broke, and they were basically just lost at sea. And they were lost at sea for quite a while. They were surviving. One of the interesting things about this group of teenagers is that, it's kind of a real world Lord of the Flies, where that story is about how if you just leave humans and especially young people to their own devices, you're going to see the evil come out. Well, in this story is really the opposite, and it actually really happened. Basically, they eventually got to this island. Now, this island has been previously populated. So it was previously populated, but at the time that they landed there, they didn't know it. It took them it took them a while to figure out how to survive. I mean, there were 6 of them. The big difference between the Tongan castaways and what you see in Lord of the Flies is basically they were able to order themselves and be disciplined. And this leads back to training as well. The oldest actually took charge. They were able to, number one, it took them, I don't know how long. I think it took them like 6 to 8 months to even start a fire. So every day they got up and focused on starting a fire, and it took like 6 to 8 months for them to actually start a fire. But in between that time, they decided on leadership. They also created a process, and this is where this directly relates to trading. Much of this story directly relates to trading. They also they devised a way to operate with each other or deal with each other where, of course, there's arguments and they get upset. But basically they said, and I don't remember the exact amount of time, but they said, look, if we get in an argument, then both people have to walk out into the jungle or the woods for an hour. You have to spend some time alone and reflect and then come back. So they figured out a way to deal with conflict. The other thing that they did is that they believed, because of the island, that they had to keep up their physical strength. So they every day got up and continued to work out, continued to focus on physical strength. And then when they did eventually start a fire, they learned from their ship, from basically them getting stranded, they had 24-hour watch on that fire. That fire never went out. When basically, once they started that fire, they moved it to another location, like in a cave. And that fire never went out until they were, spoiler alert, they were actually rescued. But that fire never went out. They also started then doing stuff where they would make it obvious for people that were maybe sailing by the island that there'd be people there, living there. Eventually, they got to where the previous inhabitants, which was, I think, descendants of them, lived. And during the colonial age, I think the British came in and actually basically took every one of them for slavery out of that island. And so they found chickens. They found from the previous inhabitants. There's also another story where one of the members was hunting, and he fell off onto a cliff, and they rescued him, and basically they reset his leg, and they made sure that they obviously teased him and said, hey man, you sit there. I think they mentioned a king, and it's probably in this story. Hey, you sit there like a king, and we'll just take care of all your duties. But they really bonded and got together and took care of all the duties that he was supposed to do, all the hunting and everything else, until he was eventually able to walk again. And even when he came back, the doctor looked at it and said this was like set perfectly. These 6 teenage boys were able to be shipwrecked on an island for 15 months. And like there's many parallels to the type of ways that they dealt with interacting with each other. And there's a parallel to how you can become a better trader. One of the prime examples is, like I said, when they have a conflict, they developed a process so that they didn't fight with each other. They developed a process where, hey, whoever had the argument, y'all go your separate ways. You focus on recentering yourself and then come back to the group. Well, same with trading. It's the same way. If you're over trading, if you're trading aggressively, or if you're just not following your system, or you notice that you're falling into, maybe you're super fading, and you're chasing trades, well, you should have a process where you step away from. For me, the longest time was I'd physically step away from the charts. And then here's the thing. I'd talked to someone in a Bravo last night in the Bravo den because they have a problem of chasing trades and over trading. And they said, well, how do I do this? Well, I'm just going to trade the hour and the close. And my response to them, and I'll actually read the response because the response is actually really important. The response is, where do we go? Sorry, let me go to the Bravo because I want to share the response because I think it's important for anybody that is struggling with over trading or that type of stuff. So my response was, on over trading, you need to write down clearly and define, because here's the thing. If you're just limiting the time you trade, you're not solving the issues. So on over trading, you need to write down and clearly define where you're able to enter a trade. So anytime you enter a trade, when you're trading, you should be asking yourself, does my trade system allow me to enter a trade here? Is this a high probability trade? And if you're arbitrarily trading and not following your trade system, well, then you're not listening to your trade. I'll go back to the chart while we actually talk about this and show you the trade that I'm currently in. We're up about $600 on that trade. The next thing I said is you should be journaling and you should be looking at every one of your trades and say, did my trade system allow me to trade in this area? On chasing, now you chase a trade usually because you see the market moving and you miss the trade. Now, obviously, this is a discipline needs to play a role in this. But someone that chases a trade, and when you're chasing a trade, you're coming from a position of limitation. What I mean by that is that you're chasing the trade because you think that trade is a winner. You think I should be part of that trade, and you missed the best opportunity. Maybe you even predicted the move and you didn't take it at the time. But you're chasing the trade. Your mindset is from a mindset of limitation. How you need to think about trades is no single trade is special. No single trade is special. I don't care how much you make on a trade, no single trade is special. What I said, it's not like kids. Each one of your kids you think are special. You should think are special. Well, trading is not like kids. Each trade is a dime a dozen. If you miss a trade, your immediate thought, and this is what I said, is say out loud, stop, where is the next trade? If you feel like you're going to chase a trade, the best thing you can do is say out loud and say, stop, wait, I'm chasing the trade. Where's the next best trade? The market will be open tomorrow, barring a comet, the zombie apocalypse, and a few other things happening. The market, and maybe even with that, the market will still be open. You have an abundance of trades. So if you're chasing trades, you're coming from a limitation mindset. You're not coming from an abundance mindset. Your trade system should provide you an abundance of trades. Your trade system should clearly show you where the next best trade is on both the short and long side. In fact, the trade system that we trade tells you that consistently. You never miss a trade. You never miss a trade. You just miss the last trade. Now you focus on where's the next best trade based on my trade system. So you should, this is obviously a discipline thing, but the other thing that you can do, and you see me do this a lot, is I do a participation trade. What is a participation trade? A participation trade is exactly that. You participate in the market. You probably missed the best entry. Like I did a participation trade on gold, GC, earlier. We made about $490 on that trade, one lot. I said, look, I'm doing a participation trade. Even in it, I said, I probably should have done 3 lots instead of just one. But I did a 1-lot participation trade because I felt I missed the best opportunity for that trade. And the participation trade allows me to participate in the market. So let me ask you, even if you're trading the MNQ, that would have been what, $40 or whatever it is. On your account size, would a participation trade be something that you would like, that would be nice to add to your P&L? I mean, most people would probably say yes, that would be good. So the things that you see me adopt here on the stream are little hacks around trading our highly effective trade system. but little hacks that help me psychologically deal with trading in a world of chaos. Every single day, it might seem like there's order to the markets, and there is a little bit, but you're also in a world of chaos. You're in a world of uncertainty. So when you're in a world of uncertainty, for you to properly operate within that environment, you have to come up with ways that deal with your physiology, your psychology, your mindset, so that you properly operate in that environment and you don't trade from a position of fear. I'm not saying you don't trade like a robot. You use your emotions. See, that's one of the biggest things that I have a problem with most of these mindset trading books. They try to say that you should just trade like a robot. I'm of the belief you need to use your emotions. You need to find a way to you can't, why suppress your emotions when there is certain times where you have to suppress it, but you have to also find ways to actually deal with it. I'd like to share that story sometime about, but so for instance, I'm writing a series based on military people, okay? High tier 1 military people. I'm writing a series, I don't know how it's going to be made yet. I don't know if it's going to be made with milsims. I don't know if it's going to be made with, ideally my dream would be HBO would option this and do a 10 or a 3 to 5 season series on this concept, because I think it would be awesome, and I think tons of people would love it. But one of the in doing research and talking to people and everything else is one of the things I've learned is that when you're getting hit by like artillery or mortars or something, that's one of the scariest things, because you don't know you can't do anything. You just got to hunker down and but you have to just hunker down and hope it doesn't hit you. So there's ways that soldiers have learned to develop or to deal with, and it's usually through humor, or it's through some type of game that they adopt, so that they don't go crazy during what's one of the most craziest things in the world, which is random. Like, you don't, if an artillery shell is meant for you and your name's on it, it's going to hit you. But if you're hunkered down and you're dealing with that, everybody's scared. Everybody's scared. But you have to, but you can't be controlled by fear. So you have to find a way to deal with it. And the way that many soldiers find a way to deal with it is that they use humor. The other thing that they do is they come up with games in the moment that they're playing with each other to laugh, to have fun, and to not let fear dominate every one of their decisions, to get through that situation. And with trading, it's the same type of mentality you have to deal with, is that you're in a chaotic environment. It's uncertain. It seems random sometimes. Also, it's dealing with finances and money, and all your dreams and your whys are wrapped into that. So you have to find these little ways to hack your mind, to hack your behavior, so that fear doesn't control you. That's really what you do. And to wrap up fully with the Tongan castaways, just to kind of end it, they could have probably survived till the end of their life on this island, this little island, because and that's what they planned on. They made guitars, they made musical instruments, they made songs, and to this day, one of the actual members still has that guitar. They were rescued by a ship that came by. I think it was captained by Peter Warner. He was I don't want to say aristocrat. He was from a rich family, but he had a dream of becoming a fisherman, Peter Warner, and he rescued them. So one of his shipmates said, "Hey, I think I heard noise," and he was like, "Nah, that's probably just the sea playing with you." But like a good captain, he listened to his shipmates, and he said, "Well, let's go closer to that island." They went closer to the island, and then the kids, the 6 teenagers, swam out to the boat. And of course, he didn't believe their story, but he did radio back. Now, here's the thing: when they got back, when the castaways got back, they were actually charged with some kind of criminal because they stole the fishing boat. The fisherman, the curmudgeon that he was, basically said, look, yeah, I want them charged. So they were put in jail. And I think what Peter Warner did is he created a documentary about this whole story, because it is an amazing story. And then he was able, through that documentary, make enough money to pay to have their defense and to get them released from prison. I don't know if some of them are still alive, but I know I know at least lived to, I think, at least 70. And to this day, he still sings the songs that they wrote on that island. So I'll share, and if you're not part of Discord, I'll share in Discord. I think there's probably a YouTube video or two that I could find that explain this story in detail. It's a really interesting story if you've never heard about it. It's called the Tongan Castaways. And I always look at these stories for, ways that we could, I want to start bringing in stories like this. Hi, welcome. Thank you for the coins. So I always, I want to bring in a couple stories of these maybe once a week, just to kind of share, okay, what can we learn from history and how can we relate it to help us? And then I'll relate it to trading. So it's not just, I love history. It's one of my passions. I love the stories. I have great respect for all of our ancestors. I think that we oftentimes think that our ancestors were just these curmudgeon people that didn't have a clue. But I think the more that you learn about history, the more that you dive into history, the more that you realize that, people were just as sophisticated as we are today. And in some ways, they were actually better sophisticated because they were more in tune with the universe, nature, and everything else, where we're less in tune with those things. And I believe that the more that we're in tune with that, probably the better and happier we'll be. And probably one of the reasons why the world is in such a state that it is right now is because we're less in tune with the world and the universe than we ever have been. So I think history is a good lesson for that. So yes, trades. Do you have any questions? I can answer any questions. And so I was going to just go, but yes, trades, you did just pop up. You said hi. Any questions? I'll answer any questions for you. And I appreciate, I need to figure out what these coins do on TradingView. So, is that just coins that go somewhere, or is that coins that go I'll have to figure that out. Any questions? I'll answer any questions you have. Any chart, ticker. Otherwise, I'm going to call it a stream. Otherwise, I'll call it a stream. We are up about $700 on this trade. We're looking for this tag of the weekly level. Our first level that's really important is the 290. So that's really important. So we'll see if that's going to get tagged here. That is a chart 4 level. Oh yeah. What I want to do that. It's towards the end. Where are we at? Alpha. We'll see. Maybe it's going to sell off here. Otherwise, if I don't hear back here in the next minute, we'll just call it a stream. We'll have another great weekend. P&L wise, I'll share the P&L in Discord, but right now we're up right around. Let me see where it's at. I don't have it pulled up, so I got to pull it up here. 12,324. So not much. We didn't make much from where we were at. Number one, the market did slow down again, and I got a little bit less aggressive. I'm trying to see if this person is here. There we go. All right. Well, we will. I'm sure I'll continue to enter trades. We're going to be playing poker here in a little bit too. So if you want to join us for poker on Discord, join Discord. We'll be playing poker in a little bit. I'm so excited about that. Last time we're gonna start. I want to start doing some more of those activities on Discord and stuff. Get to know everybody a little bit more. I mean, be outside of trading, just have a little bit of fun. Plus, we can ask questions about trading and everything else. So it's all related. All gonna have fun. Just kind of chill a little bit. All right. Well, everybody have an awesome weekend. If you're not part of, if you're not part of the Discord, you want to join Discord. Next week is treatment week for me, so I don't know how things are going to go. I know for sure Monday I won't be able to stream, but next week is treatment week for me. I don't know. Also, I don't know if I'm actually going to get treatment next week because of my side effects have really flared up. So I might not be getting treatment at all. I'll visit with my doctor and we'll make an assessment then. But at this point in time, I'm planning to get treatment, at least some, and then we'll kind of go from there. God, I should have been heavier on this move up here. Just making $1,000 here. All right, everybody. Look forward to seeing you in the next stream. Oh, let's go out like we usually go out. We got to go out like we usually go out. So everybody, join Discord if you have questions. I do highly suggest that you become an alpha member. All right, we'll see everybody.
I do that shit before.